Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Patches Metal in HD.
1, 2, 3, 4. Patches Metal!
I finally got around to getting an actual HD camera along with an actual HD microphone, and even though it might not really be looking the part at the moment, that's just because I'm still trying to figure out all the different settings and all the different setups in order to get the perfect image of me. In order to celebrate this marvelous purchase, I'm going to finish my Q&A video, which I started in the first part, which you can watch here. And then going on to the next question. One of those questions was, how did I get into metal and what bands got me into metal? And I think it's kind of difficult to remember because there were a lot of CDs at the same moment and a lot of stuff happening at the same moment. So it's kind of hard to put it in an actual timeline. But I'm quite sure that during my youth there were some commercials on TV from I think it was called Timeless Overdrive, something like that. It was like a compilation album with a lot of different rock and metal artists on it. So there was, for instance, Turbo Lover from Judas Priest, there was Poison from Alice Cooper, stuff like The Stroke from Billy Squier, I think it is. Bands like Survivor, Rush, etc. A lot of really classic bands, especially hard rock bands, but also a lot of metal bands were on there. And I always saw those commercials, with a guy in a leather jacket driving a massive motorbike down some sort of Route 66 road, and I kept bugging my parents with the question, could you please get me that CD because it looks fucking amazing. And eventually they got me the CD. And I completely loved it, even though I would always listen to the same 4 tracks. I think at the start of the album there were, the Judas Priest track, the Alice Cooper track, and 2 more that I really, really heavily enjoyed. 2 Princes by whatever the hell that band is called, don't really recall. But I would never really listen to all the other songs because I would just have those 4 on repeat. Then eventually, my parents kind of found out, he likes harder music. At some point my dad came home with Led Zeppelin 3 and Deep Purple in rock. And I didn't really like Led Zeppelin because for me at that point it was a little too soft. The album started with Immigrant Song, which was really, really fucking cool. But then at some point it became songs like Gallows Pole and Tangerine, and even though I completely adore those songs at this moment in life, back then, being 7, 8 years old, I just didn't really dig the whole acoustic vibe. However, Deep Purple in rock I fucking loved with all my heart. Every single track on that album I would play to death, and there were all these little recording bits where they would like play a tune from Mario or play one of the other songs on the piano, and I would completely know it all by head. I would remember everything because I would play that album over and over and over again. So yeah, I love those as well. Still not really at the metal part. This is still more the kind of hard rock vibe. At some point I got a Ramones CD, which I really loved, but at that same moment I got Dawn of Victory from the band Rhapsody, which these days is called Rhapsody of Fire, and this was my real first metal album. If you don't know the band, it's really extreme, over the top Italian power metal, and it would start out with an intro of you would hear dripping on a floor like with a huge echo. And some very low voice would talk about some king who would write his own tragic heart or something. I don't even recall those lyrics. It was something really weird. But then a really big choir would start singing, and that would scare the fuck out of me. So for a long while I would really not even dare to listen to that album because I was really, really young, and it literally scared me, and there were dragons and blood and stuff on the cover. So yeah, I kind of avoided that CD until just at some point I was like, man the fuck up, let's really listen to it. And then by the time it got to the second track, I would be completely sold. It was fucking amazing. And I think, I'm not sure if this is true, but I think around that time Lord of the Rings films came out, though that might have been a little later. But it really sparked my love for fantasy and lore like that as well. So that's really my first, my first encounter with actual metal. Then at some point he got me a Slipknot CD as well, which back then I loved as well, though it was also quite scary, especially with the guys with the masks and stuff. And it was like all over the CD. I think it's the album itself is called Slipknot as well, the one with the red cover and all their faces on the front. So that was kind of scary to me as well. I mean, I was really young. I'm talking about 7 years old, but it might have even been younger. So yeah, it was just kind of intimidating. And I would remember, I remember days where we had like, I think it's called show and tell in English. We had that stuff in Holland here as well, but we could also bring CDs and they would play it. And most kids would bring like top 40 kids hits CDs and whatever. I think Fox Kids Hits was something really big back then. And then I would be there with my Slipknot CDs and my Rhapsody CDs, and everyone was like, what the fuck is that? But I loved it, and those were really the years I started falling in love with metal. And then, I never know how to pronounce his name, but Chimera, that band, that's the first metal CD I bought from my own money. Like, outside of getting CDs from my dad, that was the first CD I actually really purchased for myself. The one with the black cover, I think it's also a self-titled album. So that was kind of my road to metal, and from there it just started really spreading and branching out, and there wasn't really a specific genre, a specific subgenre I extremely enjoyed. Basically, if it had anything to do with metal, I would really already love it. The kind of harsh vocals back then weren't really my thing, because again, I was quite young. But other than that, it's not really like any specific band got me into metal. It's just everything combining and piling up, and then kind of having my way with it all at once. That's really how my metal history began. Another question that I got, but something I can't really solve or answer, but I really wanted to address this, is how do you deal with bullies, or how did you deal with bullies, and how to deal with bullies at work. And I've been asked in the past questions about bullies at school, and I really have to admit that I don't really have the experience with that, because honestly, after preschool and middle school, I think it's called, like after I got about 11, 12 years old, bullies have really kind of disappeared from my life, because I started making friends, even though I was, a very, very typical metalhead kind of guy, and even at some point, like an emo kid with dyed red and black hair and stuff like that, really fucking generic. But I never really had to deal with bullies, because I just befriended people, and I kind of got to be part of the cool guys group, because at the start of the school year, we just started talking and hanging out, and we liked each other, and there wasn't really ever anything weird about me or wrong with me being so different from everybody else, because we just never really experienced it like that. It was just me fitting in with the group, and thus there not being a problem with me being anything different from what the typical people were around me. And I think that's the only real advice I can give, is just try to avoid alienating yourself or trying to convince yourself that you're in any way different from those popular people or the cool group or whatever, because really once you move past that, it's very possible that they will move past it as well. I mean, of course there are a lot of, you know, different circumstances and a lot of exceptions in which this is absolutely not true. But from my experience, I just know that once you really befriend them, there's nothing weird about you being metal or being emo or being alternative or whatever. You're just going to be part of a group of friends, and those people are extremely nice. And you know, a lot of the people I met in high school have become really close friends of mine, or at least people I still talk to on a regular basis. And just like they need to realize there's nothing wrong with you, you also need to realize there's nothing wrong with them. And of course, up to the point where they're actually real fucking dicks to you, or physically assault you, or really try to mentally break you down or anything, you know, at that point, of course, they are just fucking cunts, and you know, fuck them. And I wouldn't really exactly know what to do in a situation like that myself. But, you know, from starting at a new job or starting at a new school, or just being, you know, an underdog in school or whatever, those guys are just as cool as anyone else, and they're just as nice as anyone else, and you could probably really befriend them and make something nice out of it. Now, another thing I wanted to quickly address, which I guess is kind of a question, though it's more a statement from me. When I started the Patches Metal videos and you know, doing stuff with YouTube, I really decided for myself that I didn't want to involve my own band or bands with Patches. And of course I will at some points mention State of Negation or Cobra 66 in the past, or things like that, but I never really wanted to use Patches as some kind of promotion platform for my own music, you know, just because I wanted this to be something individual and my band to be something individual, and I didn't really want to combine the two. However, really over the past year or so, people keep asking me questions about State of Negation and how we do things with the band, or you know, where they can find the album, or if there's any updates on the band, or things like that. So you know, given the fact that people actually really want to know that stuff, I'm of course not going to ignore that, and I would really like to give regular updates on State of Negation and where you can find our stuff, etc. So you know, if that's cool with you guys, if I'm not going to get any flame wars in the comments about me being a sellout or whatever, then I'm probably going to, you know, give some regular updates about my band and about my band experience here on Patches Metal. And I've already said in the previous Q&A video that I'm also going to make a series about starting your own band, and I'm actually really excited to start that, so I'm probably going to start filming those episodes right when I click the stop button after this one, because that seems like a lot of fun to me, and it's really an interesting subject to dive into that much. But like I said, if it's cool with all of you guys, then I'm also going to regularly update State of Negation on Patches. And at any point, if it becomes annoying to you, or if it seems like I'm just trying to plug my own stuff, then do let me know, because I'm really making these videos for people to enjoy it, and not really for any other reason, not for my own gigantic benefit or anything. So I'm just going to start doing that, and once you guys do think it's annoying or it's too pluggy or whatever, then just regularly let me know, and I will look into calming it down or something. However, some people have also asked me, like, what's your Instagram or what's your Facebook page, or things like that. So I'm just going to make like an ending screen like this, and you know, put that at the end of every episode. So for now, if you like the video, please like it. If you want to subscribe to my videos to see more, you can click in the screen somewhere these days. And also here are all my Instagram and Facebook links and stuff like that. And down here are going to be the links to State of Negation, where you can follow us, where you can listen to the tracks we've released by now. And I'm probably also going to write some kind of status update about State of Negation down there or something. I'm going to figure this out while I'm editing this stuff. But you'll see, and I'll see by the time this is finished. And for now, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time again. Hate, and this is for one reason, and probably one reason alone. I really don't enjoy the sound of singing women. And I'm really sorry about that, and I can't help it, and it's nothing sexist, and I do like women, and you know...